Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Well, hello. A slightly lighter sky today, although my mood is leaden gray as yesterday's sky. It is a Thursday, and it's the 4th of December, 2014. I actually had a moment yesterday. I was paying bills when I blanked on what year it was. I mean, I even blanked what millennium it was. I thought 2000. I thought 2000, and I'm thinking these are markers. These are markers for, like, you know, your brain is getting porous, babe. I'm avoiding the subject, and as far as I know, there's really just one subject today. And I'm loath to bring it up because I have nothing to add. What is there to say? Apparently, on The Daily Show last night, Jon Stewart was speechless as well. He said I guess it's been said that comedy is tragedy plus time. And he said, if that is true, I need more time. I was not surprised, because how can one be surprised anymore with this sort of constant miscarriage of, I think, due process? Why people need to remember that a grand jury is simply supposed to see what evidence exists and decide whether or not there is enough evidence not to convict, to see if there's enough evidence that would necessitate a trial. That's all. It's saying whether or not this should go forward, and let's let a jury, a trial jury, decide. I don't know what to say. For this grand jury to decide that there was not enough evidence to go forward to a trial it's beyond mind-blowing. But the fact that I wasn't all that surprised when I heard it shows that I guess our minds have been blown long ago. Know what's to become of us, huh? And so I'm sorry. I knew this would happen. I just have nothing to say. And I'm worried for us, the country. I'm worried. I'm really worried. I have been for some time, but this is some kind of a racial divide that seems to be getting worse, not better. And even I was reminded today by a piece about the former senator, I think he's former senator, from Virginia, Webb, guy who was in the Navy, Democrat, who is chastising his party for having left behind the middle class, that the Democrats don't speak to the hardworking people of America anymore. And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? And then it turns out that what he was talking about was that white people increasingly do not vote Democrat. And what we are seeing is the Republican Party is the party of white people. That's the white people party, clearly. And the Democrats, according to Webb, have become nothing more than some kind of an amalgamation of minority groups and fringe collectives of some sort or another, interest groups, just a bunch of special interest groups. And the Democrats have left the white folks behind. I don't even know what to say to that. All I know is there is truth in the fact that the racial division in this country since the election of our first African-American president has widened or been fortified, maybe. And then there's the whole issue of whether or not there is any possibility, given our judicial system and how it works, for law enforcement to be held accountable. Is it possible? Doesn't seem like it's possible. And then we're told that, all right, we are going to get rid of this he said, she said, and all cops are going to wear these cameras, and then we're going to be able to see exactly what happened. And that'll fix the problem. Well, I guess not. I guess not, because we all saw the video. Who you gonna believe? Who you gonna believe? The Staten Island grand jury or your lying eyes and ears? There was a brilliant cartoon in the New York Daily News. It's the Statue of Liberty lying on the street, lying on the sidewalk. And it's just 3 words. I can't breathe. And the incredible absurdity of how many cops are in that video? 8? How many people? I mean, how do 6, 7 police officers, given one man, how do they end up botching it so much that that man, who did not threaten them in any way, ends up dead? And the New York cops are supposed to be some of the best trained cops in the country. I mean, what cops should be taught is how to defuse situations, not how to make them into nightmares. They seem really good at escalation, when the whole purpose, if you're attempting to keep the peace, would be to learn how to calm things down. And that would start with the cop maintaining control, emotional control. I have trouble standing at the bus stop, and I was surrounded by young black men, and I felt like I wanted to go up to all, I wanted to hug them. I wanted to say, I value your life. Don't think all of us. Please. What can we do? I'm ashamed. I'm just ashamed. That cartoon was brilliant. Because as a nation, a sense of who we are and what we should be, that greater sense of who we think we want to be, is being suffocated. You're a black man, you're selling a cigarette. You're dead. The New York Times editorialized, they used their two adjectives. Feel free to add your own. They say the imbalance between Eric Garner's fate, which was to die on a Staten Island sidewalk, the imbalance between his fate and his supposed infraction, selling a single cigarette, is grotesque. That's a big, heavy word. Grotesque. And outrageous. So here is the system we've got now. A black man is dead. Yet again, at the hands of white police. And the police officer who used forbidden tactics on this unarmed citizen who was not acting belligerently. He maybe was arguing, but he wasn't at a level that you would say threatening or belligerent. You would not. So a police officer using a chokehold that he was not supposed to use on a man who posed no risk of flight since he was surrounded by cops, against a man who brandished no weapon, and a grand jury deems that there is no reason to bother letting a jury hear whether or not the police officer's actions were warranted. And the death of Eric Garner, not an accident, not a tragedy, but a crime. If you guys are going to, I'm assuming we haven't gotten any complaints yet about audio or video. Huh? What? Okay. By the way, apparently the issues we've been having will be resolved shortly, and it appears we're going to be available on YouTube Live soon. Although if that doesn't happen, then I shouldn't have said that. But your voices have been heard, and there is definite movement to ensure that this program does get out there on a regular basis. Guys, I really am disheartened and dispirited, and I don't know if I have the energy to continue if no one's going to talk to me. I'm serious. I mean, what's the point? What's the point? You want to hear me moan a little bit more? You want to hear me decry the state of our culture, our civilization, our democracy, our souls? Oh, I just thought of a nice story to share. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to name names, or I'm trying to say, how can I do this? I was at an event this week, and I saw a number of people from my past. And so I'm not telling the story right now. I was at an event months ago and bumped into a lot of people from my past. And so there was a lot of reminiscing going on and a lot of catching up and how are your kids and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I hadn't seen some of these people in decades. And this week, there was another event where a lot of those same people ended up in the same room again, and I was told something just so wonderful. A woman approached me. I don't know her well. She's a wife of someone, and I know her husband better. And she said, I have to tell you something. I have to thank you. And then she proceeded to tell me something that I had completely forgotten. That at the earlier event where we were all reminiscing, that I had, I don't think screamed is right, but I had taken her husband to task when he was quite open with me about his homophobia and about the fact that one of his own children had come out and how he couldn't deal with it, couldn't deal with this child having a spouse that was the same gender, couldn't deal with it, because this man is a good Christian, and his religion told him this is wrong. And I don't even remember what I said to him. But she told me that whatever it was, he had a sleepless night that night. And maybe a few after that. And he stewed. My words were stuck in his head. And after a while, he found it difficult to bat them away. And what she wanted to tell me was that this Thanksgiving, they sat down as a family for the first time in a long time and reconciled. And that began because what I said to him, he couldn't ignore. I mean, that is a story that is so... It shows that we shouldn't be silent. It shows, because I love this guy, that if I'm sure I expressed, I don't know what I said, but I'm sure I expressed astonishment that a guy who I knew to be such a good man could be so damn wrong. And after she told me that, I thought, wow, I might go to heaven now. That's a good thing. I helped cause a really good thing to happen. And maybe is that how change happens? Like that? It happens at that one-on-one? And he later came up to me and said, I have to thank you. He said, I always felt you were a friend. He said, and a friend speaks truth. And you did that for me. A friend doesn't say. You know how friends, especially girlfriends, if you say, oh, whatever, I mean, oh, and then I said, and he said, and that, you know what girlfriends do? They always take your side. Oh, you're absolutely right. Oh, of course, you should be very upset. I'm even more upset. And it's rare that a friend will say to you when you're bitching and moaning, hey, I think you're wrong. So all this false friendship crap that goes on constantly, he was right. And that, he put a thought in my head. We've traded it. And my thought now is, being a good friend is being honest. I think. You might have fewer friends, but they'd be really good friendships. I think some people don't want honesty. Oh, God. PJ writes in to say the video feed is working. And there's even a call. Why? Hello, caller.
Oh, it's all working.
What?
Oops. Hello, caller. I accidentally turned my sound up. I got to turn it off. There, that's better.
Okay.
Well, you got to tell it like it is to your friends. If you don't, they're not friends.
Well, but you know what I mean. Come on. I think a lot of friends, okay, a really close friend, yes, you tell the truth. But you know what I mean about how someone's moaning, groaning, this and that, and invariably the sense is that the friends gather round and support whatever that person is saying, whether or not they're right or wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's an easier thing to do. It's just easy.
Yeah.
And then some of those same friends, let me just say, some of those same friends, after they leave the moaner and groaner, will cattily say to each other, "Jeez, you believe it? I mean, God, she's full of shit." Blah, 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 blah. And yeah, the same friendship.
A lot of times they don't want to hear the other side.
No.
No matter what you say.
But there are people who are fair-minded. I always loved this guy, and I knew, I'm not all that surprised that he allowed himself to be uncomfortable enough to worry those words in his head and think on them and try to bat him away and acknowledge that he couldn't and then reach out. Wow.
What a great mitzvah.
I know, I'm going to heaven. I am going to heaven.
You made somebody think.
I did. Okay. Hey, thank you. Bye. Okay. Bye. Oh, dear God. All right, so that was my good news story. That's it. I don't have any more. We could take a break. As a matter of fact, I think I shall. Be back in a minute.
Babies come with lots of decisions.
Cloth or disposable? Crib or bassinet?
So when it comes to protection, go with the safest, most effective choice, vaccination. Get all the recommended vaccines for your baby by age 2 to protect your child against 14 serious childhood diseases. For more reasons to vaccinate, talk to your child's doctor. Go to cdc.gov/vaccines or call 800-CDC-INFO. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Download the popular CP Haps app and find out what's going on in Pittsburgh for the holidays. It's the free and fun app that puts the most popular events at your fingertips. Text events to 77948 to download now and register to win tickets to Trans-Siberian Orchestra and dinner to Sonoma. The CP Haps app brought to you by Pittsburgh City Paper.
What is that?
Oh, it's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs, cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
The guy says
wow,
11
hey,
times,
you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations
and then the people
stuff.
say, well...
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
BurgBargains.com is your best bet for great deals in the Burg. Check out the newly optimized site for quicker access to deals. Log on today for discounted gift certificates to Ibiza, P.F. Chang's, and Wildwood Highlands. Pittsburgh's best bargains, BurgBargains.com.
We will not be an easy target. We will never roll over and let pain plan our day. We will protect our bodies and fight back by moving. We will do our morning laps, walk our dogs around the block, pass up the elevator, and proudly take the stairs. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? To learn more, visit us at fightarthritispain.org. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
All right, what are the two objects that you lose all the time? Umbrellas and gloves. Is that correct? Umbrellas and gloves. I mean, no one in their right mind would spend a lot of money on any gloves or umbrellas because you lose them. Now, for today was the first day that I caved and wore gloves. Because I knew I'd be at the bus stop, and yesterday my hands were freezing. And so I rooted around and found some gloves. These are hideous. But fake fur and, but I thought, ooh, they'll keep me all toasty warm. So, this glove today went from a drawer it's been stuffed into since last winter, went with me to let's just put it this way. When I got to the bus stop, I only had one. I looked at my feet. I looked at the path I'd taken. I did not see the other glove. So these are the first gloves I even tried this winter, and I only have one within 2 minutes. Just saying. Oh, let me introduce you to an idiot, okay? This is the city council president of Jacksonville, Florida. His name is Clay Yarborough. That's a good Southern name. Clay Yarborough. And Clay, as the president of the city council, has a bit of a bully pulpit. And he used that bully pulpit to denounce, in no uncertain terms, a painting that he had seen. Oh, no, it's a photograph, excuse me. A photograph that he had seen on the wall of the Jacksonville Museum of Contemporary Art. It was a photograph of a naked pregnant woman. Oh, God in heaven. And he said it was pornographic. He said the mayor should rescind more than $230,000 in city funding for this museum because of the pornography of that naked pregnant woman. The artist, the photographer/artist who took the picture, upon hearing this critique, said this. Maybe he hasn't seen enough porn. And here's the funny part. Here's the idiot part. The true idiot part. When will people learn that if you don't want people to see something or hear something, that the way you can assure that millions more will hear or see is to publicly denounce it. So this idiot, Clay Yarborough, gave the museum a ton of publicity with his little snit-fit, and attendance has nearly tripled at the Jacksonville Museum of Contemporary Art, where a picture of, oh dear God in heaven, a naked pregnant woman on a love seat hangs on the wall. Ansel writes, Lynn, I am not sure the silence of your audience today has as much to do with your technical issues as much as it does with the subject matter of the last 2 days. Police brutality is an important topic, but the 24-hour news cycle, especially on a topic like this one, has exhausted us. I'm sorry I feel that way, but this topic has polarized the nation, and I just don't have the energy to engage in it another minute. I'm sure that sounds insensitive, and I apologize. Eric Garner's family will never have a break from all of this, so perhaps we shouldn't either, but I need something lighthearted right now. Well, that's why there's bread and circuses for us, Ansel. Well, you say a mouthful in that. I understand that reaction of turning away because you feel helpless and hopeless. But part of that 24/7 din I think, cynically maybe, is to get us numb. Or maybe that wasn't the intent, but that is the result. That we become numb, inured, as you are. I understand that. But I don't think we're free to ignore it. And in a way, you come around to that point at the end of your email because, as you say, real people, lives, loved ones can never get away from this stuff. So why should we? If there is any sense of community left, see, and that's what's gone. We have no sense of community. I just want to say this. It just occurred to me. We're fucking doomed. That's it. We're fucking doomed. Came to me just like that. I'm going to scream it from the rooftops. And I agree. Why would you tune into a show where some woman in black is saying, we're fucking doomed? That's no fun. I agree. It's why Jon Stewart said last night, I need more time. It's raw. It's raw. We're doomed. Kathleen writes, Dear Lynn, as I listen to what you're saying, I feel like I want to cry. Good. That's what I want to do to you all. I want you to cry. Cry. Kathy writes, not weep, but sob for the men and the boys who continue to be executed without trial for the crime of being black. I only hold back my sobs so that I can focus on being outraged. Where is my United States? How have we come to this pass? Every time I encounter a black person, I want to say, I swear that I am not like them. Let's fight this slaughter together. I know that impulse. Kathy ends with, great program, sister. Let's fight this slaughter together. Okay. We're fucking doomed. Laura writes, I enjoy the show, but I'm hesitant to share my opinion for many reasons. Perhaps other listeners also feel that. You do have loyal listeners. I learn an awful lot listening. I may not always agree and do get tickled when you get ranting, and Susan can't seem to get a word in or vice versa. Oh, listen to this. Jess's replacement, that's Celine, has a nice laugh. Yay! I have heard her name, but not sure on spelling. Celine. Celine. I'm glad Tom still comes on. Yeah, but he won't be for the next 2 weeks. We have a phone call. Oh, my God! What did I say? Laura said, we didn't turn my mic off during the break.
No, you didn't. It was ridiculously funny.
Shit!
If I thought you to be a conniving person, I would have thought you did that on purpose.
What did I say?
Oh, you were like, why should I sit here and spill my guts? Fuck them. They don't want to go.
I'm so sorry.
Well, it's, you know what? You're absolutely right. I feel that way sometimes when I'm making a painting that I'm bearing when I'm bearing my soul in a painting. Well, the other thing is, why the hell do I think people would want to listen to it, or why do I think people would want to see it?
Yeah, true. Well, then you saw the real me. Well, but I was quite open that that's the way I was feeling anyway, right?
Yeah, I think everybody that has listened to you or watched you for any length of time would know that was pretty much. It was just you being you, basically.
Yeah. The thing
it's almost like with Susan's picture turned face down like that in the background. It reminds me of like when a husband is cheating on his family and he puts the picture face down. I think you should like tuck it under the desk or something.
Okay, it doesn't look right there. Okay, you hear that? Okay, you're right. Okay, any other helpful hints?
Well, no. I looked up the image of the pregnant naked woman.
Yeah.
And it's so mild. I mean, it's a naked pregnant woman.
Yeah. So I think the artist's reaction is a riot. Maybe he hasn't seen enough porn.
And that's one of the good things about artists when they get put in a situation like that is that most of the time can come up with a pretty good quip that kind of puts it all in an eggshell and puts it in form of place. Yeah. I had a friend who did a picture. It was actually a billboard. He did a stencil on a giant billboard of George Bush Jr. Which one is that?
W.
And it said, "Eats number 2," below his picture. And someone asked him about his billboard of George Bush, and don't you think it was bad that you did a picture of George Bush that said "Eat number 2"? And he said, my only answer to that is I'm pretty sure he doesn't actually eat number 2.
There you go.
So, so the other thing I wanted to say, though, is, most of your audience agrees with you.
That's a bitch, because a show is better if you have... This is the way it used to work in the early days when I started doing this. All different points of view called in.
Yeah.
And we mixed it up. But this is what's happened to this country now. We all just go to our corners, and you only listen to people that are echoing your own thoughts, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, so in that vein, I would respectfully disagree with you if you'd like me to, or with a few things that have been said. But I don't know if you actually want to get into that or not, because it is a radio show, and how can you solve the world's problems over the phone?
Why is it going to take us off into,
No, it deals exactly with Eric Garner. And in particularly, it was good to lead in with that email that you read just before I called was perfect, because there is a certain amount of rhetoric in that email that does us no good, does no one any good, and uses terms that, in fact, aren't accurate to what happened.
What? The email of...
that you just read about...
Sob for the men and boys who continue to be executed without trial for the crime of being black?
Yeah.
You have a problem with that sentence, that thought?
Well, I do. And because, first of all, it's not an execution. And I was saying, there's a certain amount of rhetoric from...
You're an artist who just said that the George Bush eats number 2 was, words and expression you give leeway to people. It sure feels like an execution when somebody is denied due process. So why? What do you mean it's not it's an execution if the speaker sees it that way? You're saying it,
Lynn, but there's a certain amount of artistic license in a work of art where you take liberties, where you provoke, where you do things like that. In a discussion, in a civil, normal discussion, which is what I think that email was about, rhetoric doesn't have a place if it's going to be a good discussion.
Okay, so you think words like slaughter or execute merely...
I mean, execution would mean that when they approach that man in the street, their intent from the very beginning was to kill him. Here's a black guy. We are going to kill him because he is black. That's it. That's what that whole sentence could be summed up as. We are going to approach this guy because he's black, and we are going to kill him because he's black. That is our intent of approaching him.
Wait.
And that is why we are doing it.
Let me just ask you this, though. Do you not think that being a black male in America puts you at more risk?
I absolutely do. And I absolutely think that there are huge, giant problems that we are going to have a great time overcoming that is because of our current state of mind and our previous history. That being said, rhetoric will do no good in getting anywhere near helping us solve those problems. Using terms like murder, those men were murdered. They were not murdered. If anything, it was involuntary manslaughter, if you want to get technical. But terms like that, the other thing it does is
I'll tell you what they were. Both men were deprived of their lives by law enforcement without due process. Is that a correct sentence?
Yes, that is a correct sentence. But
then we're quibbling here because
no. You can't call this a semantic argument because this is not quibbling over a certain thing. This is using a term. It could also be said those were accidents. Could it not?
That was an accident?
That when they wrestled Eric Garner to the ground, that he was killed accidentally.
To the police officers, yes, it's an accident.
Well, I mean,
they were.
Do you believe that they killed him on purpose?
No, I do not.
Then it was an accident. If their intent was not to kill him when they wrestled him, then there was nothing else.
No, it's not an accident. Then it's manslaughter. It's an accident lets you off the hook. It's not an accident. Is manslaughter an accident? It rises above an accident.
It rises above
because it's reckless.
There was negligence in your action.
That's right. And that should have gone before a jury.
I agree completely with you, but there is a huge difference between that and a murder or an execution. There's a huge difference there. A huge difference there.
Okay.
And I agree with you. I wish both of these had gone to, because I am fed up. I'm not one that was ever a fan of the cops to begin with. I've had a problem with authority my entire life. And I think both of these should have gone to trial. So that this rising escalation, and in particular, and mostly in the terms of black Americans, could be seen in the light of day. But to use terms like slaughter,
all right,
murder,
I understand what you're saying.
Execution.
All right. You're saying it. You're just saying it's okay. It's incendiary, and it doesn't move us forward. But people are outraged, and when you're outraged, your language.
When you're put in a situation where you have the chance of losing control, and you lose control, you do things that you don't want to do.
This is true.
And would that not describe exactly what happened in the Ferguson incident?
I have no idea. I would like a trial in both instances.
Well, that's what I said.
Okay, let me just say this. I think this makes a more interesting show when exactly what you did today is question. And if people are holding back because they don't agree with something I'm saying, don't. You'll make a better show by challenging it.
Yeah, but a lot of people. It's hard enough as it is. Wanting to call and spill your guts on the radio and possibly be accused of being a racist. Possibly, you do go on and on about white men and the problems of this world are white men and blah blah blah.
Well, I stand with that.
That's not going to exactly make. In my case, a white man want to call.
I know, and I'm so scary. I'm a little old lady with a handbag and a Medicare card and a senior citizen pass to get on the fucking bus.
Well, no, listen, but here's the thing, though, is that you have control, as anyone that listens to radio
it's true.
In the past,
You're
you
right.
have the on-off switch.
Yeah, I do.
And you can make someone that calls in seem like...
an idiot.
Or a saint. Right?
Oh, I'm so powerful, I can't stand it.
No, it's the truth. Hey, listen, you go on and on about media screwing up and media screwing this country. You are media.
I know I am.
So there is a certain degree of power that you possess in your hand, and no matter how feeble as you describe it, there's a certain amount of power in your finger. And if someone wants to listen to your show and appreciates it, and thereby or therefore obviously appreciates your opinion and your listeners' opinion, why would one want to run the risk of being made to look fool?
All right, well, that is the greatest explanation for why no one calls me that I've ever heard. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Well, Kathy has written back. It is not hyperbole. It is fact. Accidentally, with an illegal chokehold? Stop this bullshit, she writes. Well, but, okay, that was good. That's good. Mix it up. It's what these shows used to do. I'm really a pussycat. Okay, so, I don't know what to do, Ansel, for you and others who want a happy subject. Find me, if you want them, how about suggesting some? I'm serious. You got something that you'd like to hear me talk about? Let me know. I'm enough of a bullshitter that I'll talk about anything. So, just try me. I'm serious. Early on in my talk radio career, very early, I was doing 3 hours a day, WTAE AM, and I had, waxed, passionate, eloquent. I had been squawking and screaming about something or other, and then I went to a break, and I ran to the bathroom, and I ran into one of the stalls, and I sat down, and I was paralyzed. I thought, good God, there are people listening to me. There are people listening. And I'm just shooting my mouth right off the top of that's what I do. And I was paralyzed by the responsibility of it. And I have failed often being a responsible person with a mic in front of me. But man, I haven't failed as often as a lot of them who seem to go out of their way to use that power for ill and to cause trouble and to foment trouble, right? So I am aware that with this phallus that I talk into, that reminds me of when I first got my first radio show. I was in the same studio that the iconic Myron Cope of Pittsburgh sports fame did his show. And there apparently, his show was at night. And after I had been on the air for a while, and I didn't have a windscreen, so I had a mic that looked like that. Truly phallic. And I had been told to talk really close into it, which I still do. And apparently I maybe brushed it a few times with my lips. And there were traces of lipstick on the mic. And apparently one night during his show, Myron went ballistic. They're letting girlies into the studio now. It's red, pink. I don't know what this is. What is that? Anyway, where was I? I'm just doing stream of consciousness now. And I had told Celine before the show started, I don't think we're going to be able to do an hour. And then I said, I have said such a thing easily over 3,000 times in my career to some poor producer who just sits there and nods. Yeah, all right, okay, I know, you got nothing. And then proceeded to watch me babble, ad nauseum. For the next hour, in the cases when I had the radio show, 3 hours. Right? And then forget to turn off your mic. And then you forgot to turn off my mic. You are dead. Thank God. Really, I could have said, can you imagine what I could have said? I could have said something like, I could have slurred somebody. I could have specifically, I'm a terrible person. Although I'm going to heaven. I do think, really, there are so many worse things that could have happened. Huh? It was pretty tame. If I was simply saying, fuck this audience, what are they? If I was saying that, well, come on, that's me. I love you. I couldn't exist without you. But sometimes it feels it's like me in the stall in the bathroom. It's hard. Not that I need your sympathy. It's hard to come in here and be expected to voice. It's not like I write anything down. It's not like the whole way here on the bus I'm thinking, now, how do I start the show and what am I going to say? I don't know. I never know. I just start talking. That's the way I've always done it. And sometimes I think, boy, that made sense, a little voice says in my head. Way to go. And other times I say, you're a babbling friggin' fool. You're saying absolutely nothing, and it's boring, and so there's this constant voice in my head, too. It's hard work. But an hour's nothing, seeing as I did 3 hours most of my career. But anyway, this feels just about right. And I'm sorry if the show is essentially predicated on the news. But that is the nature of the beast generally, although we go off on social issues and cat puke and things like that. We can move around. But if the news is that which is abhorrent and horrifying and frightening and all that stuff, well, I don't know what to do about that, because that is sort of my fodder. It's what I'm supposed to talk about. But I acknowledge that reality can feel intrusive. And that's why we drink. That's why we root for the Steelers. That's why we go to movies and smoke pot. And I mean, we do need distraction and a change of a little twerk of our heads, because the world is too much with us, especially now because of technology. So that's all I gotta say. I'll be back tomorrow. Is tomorrow Friday? Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. And amazingly, I am making my return appearance Friday night on WQED's 4802 at 7:30. For those of you who have been missing me on TV. Okay? So, have a great day, and I'm sorry if I said things that you weren't supposed to hear. Whatever.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.